Hey, what is going on, guys? It's DK back at you with another video here. It's rating on the Week 3 XFL slate on Draftkings. A couple things before I get in the video. If you're new to the channel, my name's DK. I make daily videos talking about NBA, NFL, and XFL daily fantasy sports. I'm also running a weekly $20 PayPal giveaway on my channel. How it works, all you have to do is leave a like and a comment in the video. That's one entry in the giveaway. Max one comment per video. So it started with my NBA video yesterday. We'll go throughout the week, not this upcoming Monday, but the Monday after that, since there's no NBA game last Monday. Normally I go Monday to Monday. But since it started Thursday with NBA's video, it will go not this Monday, but the next Monday. So this extended week, however many videos I've uploaded for the week, you can enter the giveaway that many times. So if I have 10 videos uploaded for this extended week, you can enter the giveaway 10 times. And again, the winner receives $20 PayPal from myself. With that out of the way, let's jump in the video. So first, let's look back at Week 2's lineup here. Week 2 was a huge success. If you guys watched if you guys listen to the podcast, if you guys watched my Week 2 video, you probably made some good money. So let's go over my lineup here. You guys knew I was super high on Jordan Ta'amu, who's only 15% owned in this $10 tournament. So I turned $10 into 30 in this, or was $8 or $10 entry, I forget. And then the Sunday only contest I won. I think $80 off of 25. I want to say 25 or 30. All in all, it was a really solid night for XFL. A really solid weekend, I should say. And Jordan Ta'amu was huge. I was all over him all week. He was not high owned at all. Nick Holley and Lance Dunbar were the two running backs I liked on the cheap end. Both were really solid. Holley, unfortunately, is listed as a wide receiver this week, but his price hasn't really moved. So I like Nick Holley a lot again for Week 3. I'll talk about him in a bit later. Jeff Badette was a little bit worried there because in the first play, he caught like a 10-yard pass and got injured, limped to the sideline. It didn't look good. He ended up returning, which was good, obviously. I talked about spending up at wide receiver with both Spruce and Cam Phillips. Cam Phillips only 32% owned, had 32 fantasy points. Nelson Spruce only 47% owned, 26 fantasy points. And LaDainian Washington, talked about him being my favorite receiver, pairing him with Ta'amu. He had 19, and I think he's at 4.4K. And then the two defenses I talked about were the Vipers and the Dragons. Both were, I think the Dragons ended up were the better defense, but still, both were really, really good. I think the two top defenses, maybe I think DC was up there too. But all in all, it was a great Week 2. I had some listeners take down some big money. Had someone turn $10 into $777. Had someone turn $77 into $747. Had another viewer win $700. Had someone else turn $14 into $172. Someone won a $3 tournament. It turned $3 into $300. It was a really, really good, really good weekend for Week 2. So let's see if we can keep it going for Week 3 for the XFL. If you guys enjoy this content, would appreciate if you could hit that like button. Really helps me out to continue to put out all this free content for NBA and XFL right now. So let's do it. Before we get into players and their prices, let's take a look at the Vegas numbers right now. So we have the Houston Roughnecks and the Tampa Bay Vipers. Sorry, I can't talk. 45 over under. The Roughnecks are 6.5-point favorites. We have the Renegades and the Dragons at 42.5 over under, with Dallas here by 4. New York and St. Louis 40 over under. St. Louis are 10-point favorites. And the DC Defenders at the LA Wildcats 44 over under. With the DC Defenders 8.5-point favorites on the road. So we will start with quarterback today. And at the top, we have Phillip or PJ Walker, 11.5K. He is, again, the most expensive quarterback, but I think it's for a good reason. This pass-heavy offense, we've seen they don't really want to work the running game. They love running 4 wide receiver sets, and Phillip Walker is a guy that does have some rushing upside. We've seen 26 and 27 yards on the ground the first couple of weeks. Really, the concern here is just the price tag and the fact that Tampa Bay has really been struggling. So, maybe if Houston gets off to like a 2-touchdown lead, maybe they slow it down a little bit. That is a slight concern. And then just the price tag, right? 11.5K. DraftKings did a good job raising some guys' price tags, so it makes it a little bit more tricky to get him in. Now, I still think he has the most upside of any quarterback. But again, the downside here is just the price point at 11.5K. Other quarterbacks I have some interest in. Cardell Jones, he's looked really good the first couple weeks. with 20 and 19 fantasy points in week 1 and week 2. Not really scared of LA's defense. DC is one of the top, if not the top, overall team, I think, in the XFL. And, Cardale Jones even flashed a little bit of rushing upside, something he didn't do at Ohio State. So at 10.8K, I think he is a pretty solid play. I don't know if I'm going to get to him on this slate, though. I think I would prefer either going all the way to the top to Philip Walker, or going down to a guy like Jordan Ta'amu, who we'll talk about in a bit, or going really, really cheap. Or Josh Johnson. I think those are the quarterbacks I have the most interest in. Landry Jones at 10.6, he had over 300 yards. Looked a little rusty to start the game, but finished strong, 28 of 40, again, over 300 yards, had a couple picks, 1 touchdown. I think he is at a tricky price rate. Again, I think I would prefer getting up all the way to Philip Walker, PJ Walker, or spending down a bit. So these guys in between Cardale Jones and Landry Jones are definitely fine options, but probably not going to be the way that I go for this week. Jordan Ta'amu, you guys knew I was all over him last week. I just love his rushing upside. 77 yards on the ground week 1, 32 and a touchdown week 2. I think really the only downside to say about him is that New York really struggled last week. And St. Louis has proven that they want to run the football. It was good game script last week because Houston got off to a big lead, so they had to throw the ball. I'm a little bit worried because of game script here. I think if St. Louis gets off to an early lead, they're just going to pound that Jones and Christine Michael. So that is the worry with Ta'amu. I think he is, again, still one of my favorite plays because of his rushing floor. So he is someone that I'm definitely looking at that price. Also like Josh Johnson at 9.2. He's been limited with the thigh injury. I'm not super worried about that. He looked a little bit rusty there to start. Finished 18 of 34, 196 yards, 2 touchdowns. DC is solid defensively, but I think the Wildcats are going to have to score some points to stay in this game. Right, DC, again, one of the top offenses, if not the top offense in the XFL. So it should be good game script for Josh Johnson, the Wildcats. 8.5-point dogs. So I actually like Josh Johnson a good amount. And he didn't really flash a rush upside, but we know he has it in him as well. So I think he's one of my top plays there at that price. Matt McGloin, don't think I get to him at 8.5. Looked terrible. There's a shot if he plays really bad again, they could bench him. Aaron Murray is out. So can't get to him. It's probably going to need Cornelius and Flowers, with Cornelius playing more of the snaps, more of the passing quarterback. He makes for a really interesting just punt play because obviously Houston, they play at such a fast pace, so Tampa Bay is going to have to score some points here. The downside of Cornelius is that they're going to use Quentin Flowers a decent amount. They'll bring him into the red zone. So, he's not going to play the full allotment of snaps. I think he played 80% of the snaps there in week 2 with Aaron Murray out. So it's a tricky situation, right? Because if there's no Quentin Flowers in the equation, I would really like Cornelius because, again, it's going to be good game script for him. I know he didn't look great, but there's not, again, assuming that if Flowers is out of the picture, there wouldn't be any competition for him, and again, it would be good game script. But with Flowers in the picture, it just makes it tricky because he's not going to get the full complement of snaps. He might be taken out for red zone plays. Again, they are 6.5-point dogs here, so that is really a concern. Brandon Silver's 7.5, another situation that should be playing from behind, but they also have proven they want to run the ball if they're playing from ahead. So. Yeah, not super excited about the cheap options there with Silvers, Cornelius, or Flowers. Don't think I get to any of those guys. If I was going to take a shot on one, I guess it would be Cornelius. But, I already voiced my concerns there. They're going to use Flowers a good amount. So, yeah. And then I think that really does it for quarterback. So, if I had to, rank my plays, I think the safest option is still Philip Walker at 11.5K, and the downside is just the price. I like Jordan Ta'amu a good amount. The concern there is they get off to an early lead and just pound the rock. They're the team that wants to run the ball the most in this league, which is a downgrade to Ta'amu. I like Josh Johnson a good amount. Should be good game script. I know it's not really the best matchup, but 9.2K. He's really standing out to me at that price. And then if you want a dart throw, you could always take a shot in Cornelius at that price. But really, I think it's Walker, it's Teamu, and it's Josh Johnson I'm interested in for quarterback. Running back situation. So I've talked about the first couple weeks only playing one running back in your lineup. I'm going to continue with that because, again, there's just not a whole lot of teams that like running the ball besides St. Louis. Now, Dallas was a team that do like utilizing their backs. They get utilized a bit more there in week 2. Let's start at the top, though. James Butler, 8.5. I just don't see myself getting to him. Now, he did play on like 60, 65% of the snaps. It's just Houston's a team, they've proven that even when they're leading, they don't want to run the ball. So I don't think I can pay 8.5K for him. Cameron Payne, if I was going to spend up for a running back, I think it would be him just because, they utilized him a lot there in week 2. Had a really good week, 14 carries, 99 yards, and got the passing game work. 5 catches and 5 targets, had 4 catches and 4 targets in week 1. Dallas, they are favorites here, so I guess they should be playing from ahead. Only 4-point favorites, though. So, but yeah, Cameron Payne, I do like as a spend up. I just think I like the spend up receivers more in this slate, so don't know if I'm going to get to him. But if I was going to spend up on a running back, I think it would be Cameron Payne. Matt Jones and Christine Michael, again, got a heavy workload there in week 2. He had 16 carries, 44 yards. Not a guy that's going to be utilized a whole lot in the passing game, which is a slight downgrade. And he's 7.5K, also dealing with a knee injury. I assume he's going to be good to go since he's been practicing. But, if I was going to play one of the St. Louis running backs, I think it would be Christine Michael to save that extra couple thousand. He got 15 carries the last game, got a couple catches out of the backfield. So, yeah, if I was going to play one of these backs, I would just save the money on Christine Michael. Pumphrey and Presley both priced similar at a similar price point. Pumphrey at 7K, Presley at 6.8. Both are fine options, but again, a 50-50 split. They seem priced about right. Lance Dunbar, him and Holly were my 2 favorite running backs last week. Dunbar finished with 13. Again, he's being utilized a lot in the passing game. Still getting a little bit of work on the ground. If you think Dallas is going to be playing from behind this one, maybe target Dunbar. Either way, Landry Jones has shown they like running the running back screens. He just likes going to the running backs out of the backfield for passing ball, which is really good because DraftKings get full point PPR. So Dunbar and Artis Payne are both solid options because of their pass catching work. Davion Smith got a lot of work there in week 1, but kind of split the work there in week 2. Only 11 carries for 46 yards. A little bit concerning. Jock Patrick, however you pronounce his name, had 14 carries for 73 yards. So, yeah, if I'm going to pick one of those guys in the backfield for Tampa Bay, I think I would give the edge to Patrick just for the savings, right? Kind of the same situation as St. Louis. Let's see, Kenneth Farrow is probable. My concern with Seattle is they have a 3-headed monster, so it makes it a little bit tricky to get to them. Elijah Hood has been getting the bulk of the carries, but not really getting utilized a whole lot in the passing game. DC, pretty solid defensively, so it makes it a little bit tricky to get to Hood as well. Again, Trey Williams, they're just utilizing a 3-headed monster here in St. Louis, so it makes it hard for me to get to them. Now, Darius Victor is a guy I have a good amount of interest in. He left that game early with a head injury, but it looks like he's going to be good to go for week 2. Now, him and Cook are going to split the duties, but you're also getting him at a really cheap price of 4.7, right? A lot of the guys that have been other teams that have like a 50-50 split, they're priced up, like the DC guys, right? The St. Louis guys. You're getting Darius Victor at 4.7K. And he's a guy that did get a good amount of work out of the backfield catching the ball, like 3 catches in week 1. Again, he got injured in week 2, so wouldn't be super concerned about that. I do like Darius Victor as a cheap option there, 4.7. Let's see. Other options. Again, Tim Cook, he was utilized a lot in week 2 because Victor went down. I think I would prefer Victor at a similar price. I think that really does it. So, like I said, running back, I think you only play one in your lineup for week 3. I would try to get to a running back that is utilized in the passing game, right? Because they have a higher floor if they're going to catch some balls. Guys like Cameron Payne, a guy like Dunbar, a guy like Darius Victor. Those are kind of the running backs I'm looking at for week 3. Let's move on to wide receiver, though. So wide receiver, once again, I really like spending up on receiver, and then there's a couple cheap options I am very, very high on. So the mid-tier, a little bit more contrarian, but once again, I really like Cam Phillips. I really like Nelson Spruce. Cam Phillips, has basically played 100% of the snaps in the first 2 weeks. He's been dealing with an ankle injury, which is slightly worrisome, but man, his usage in this offense, the quarterback play, obviously, Philip Walker is great. So I really like Cam Phillips once again. I think maybe the price tag might scare some people away. I'm probably going to go right back to the well there. Also have a good amount of interest in Nelson Spruce at 10.9. Just, both these guys are being utilized a whole lot. Nelson Spruce, 15 and 9 targets the first 2 weeks. I know it's, two of the tougher matchups there against, Tampa Bay and DC, but I really like those guys as spend ups. Pearson Elmore, contrarian option, he had a really good week 2, 9 catches and 11 targets. But, if I'm going to spend up at which wide receiver, it's going to be Phillips, it's going to be Spruce. The DC wide receivers are definitely doable. Rodgers, Ross, and Tompkins. I think my favorite would be Tompkins for his price. Rodgers is a guy that was utilized out of the slot a lot, 6 and 8 targets. I think he's a safer option, whereas Rashad Ross, more of the GPP option, didn't play as many snaps, but has that big play upside. 52 and 95 yards the first couple of weeks. He's not playing huge snaps, but again, he is running those long routes. So he's a guy that does have upside. If I was playing a cash game format, it would be Rodgers. If I was playing a GPP format, I think I would lean towards Ross if I was going to play one of those expensive DC wide receivers. Khalil Lewis at 9.1, I would just much prefer getting to Cam Phillips for an extra couple thousand. Mikael McKay is interesting at 8.8. I think he goes very, very under the radar. Again, Matt McGloin struggled, which is concerning. I think he's a more of a contrarian option, but still has upside there. Again, he is their big play guy. Jeff Badet at 8.6. Again, he was dealing with that hip injury. He left the game for a little bit there in the first quarter, but came back in. The good thing is, he has good quarterback play as well with Landry Jones. So you could run a little game stack or team stack here with, Landry Jones and Jeff Badet. Austin Prohl, don't think I get to him at that price. Dan Williams, right? It's just the bad or the struggling offenses. I don't want to pay up for the wide receivers in those offenses. LaDainian Washington at 8K looks like he's going to be good to go. He's been dealing with an ankle injury. I think he's probably their number one wide receiver, and I think he is a solid, more contrarian option. Again, I think the best way to go right now is spend up on receiver than spend down. So these guys in the mid-tier are a little bit more contrarian. Coates' snaps went down. He's really been struggling catching the ball. I don't think I can do it even at this price. Again, the bad offenses like Seattle and Tampa Bay, I'll probably pass on these guys like Keenan Reynolds. Smallwood's viable at 7.2. Again, more of a contrarian option, though. He is still being utilized a good amount, but I would just rather get up to Nelson Spruce. Truesdale's out for Tampa Bay, so that's definitely some snaps to go around there for that Tampa Bay offense. We'll talk about some cheap options here in a sec. Tompkins is a guy that in this mid to cheaper range, I like a good amount. He got a whole lot of snaps there in week 2, 6 catches and 9 targets, 5.7K for a starting receiver in one of the better offenses. I do like Tompkins a good amount at that price. One of my favorite plays. Let's see. Donald Parham, you have to take into consideration what he has done. That first game was not an anomaly. Week 2, 5 catches and 11 targets. So they really like utilizing this guy. 5.3K. I think he's another solid mid-tier play. Don't mind Flynn Nagel, 4.7, but we'll talk about some cheaper options that I really like. A guy like Nick Holley, 4.4. He was second in snaps last week for Houston. Not a guy that has an immense upside, but he's a safe option out of the slot and a really good offense that's going to play most of the game. He is one of my favorite value plays, if not my favorite value play there, once again at 4.4K. Have some interest in Tolliver and Reese Horn. Again, these are cheaper guys in a bad offense. Tolliver, 8 and 4 targets the first couple weeks. Reese Horn, 5 and 8 targets. He got the most snaps there for Tampa Bay. Again, they're missing, or Nick Truesdale's out, so there's more snaps, targets to go around. Reese Horn is a guy that will be utilized a bit in the slot. If I was going to pick between the two, I think it would be Horn over Tolliver. Both those guys I have interest in on the cheaper range. Let's see. Other options here. Jazz Ferguson missed that last game due to kind of undisclosed injury. Looks like he's going to be good to go for this one. He was listed. I think he's a good GPP option because no one's going to play him. So going into the season, he was a guy that's getting a lot of hype. The Twitter account, Dallas Renegades Twitter account, was always posting on him. He was making great catches. And then he was dealing with an injury. He wasn't listed as a starter. And then week 2 was a late scratch, undisclosed, or just wasn't there. Now he's back. So we don't know what his role is going to be. I like taking a shot, but only for GPPs because, again, I don't really know what his role is going to be for this week, but I don't think a lot of people will play him. If you're making multiple lineups, I think I would take a shot on him in one. Let's see. S.J. Green, the guy from the Canadian Football League, is at 3.5K, but we don't know if he's going to have a role for this week, so really, really risky dart throw there. Let's see. Two LA receivers, Saeed Blacknell is probable. He played a lot of snaps there in week 1, had 4 targets, but did not have a catch. I'm intrigued with him as a complete punt play. Again, he's a little bit more risky because he didn't play in week 2. And I think the safe, cheap options for this slate are Nick Holley and Reese Horn. I think those are 2 of my favorite cheap options for a wide receiver. But let's see. I think that really does it. So let's talk about defenses, and then we can get out of here. So I think my favorite defense right now, just looking at it, is St. Louis, right? I want to get a cheap defense in there, and the Vipers defense going up against one of the best, if not the best, offense there in Houston. Same thing with the Wildcats going up against DC. Don't know if I want to go there. The Dragons defense has been solid, but Dallas with Landry Jones is a pretty solid offense. So yeah, I don't know if I want to go there. I think St. Louis is probably your safest option. They're the defense, the cheapest defense I feel good about. Again, Matt McGloin really struggled. St. Louis at home, they're going to have a home field advantage. Probably 30,000 plus fans there. So St. Louis is probably my favorite defense right there, or right now. Other defenses I have some interest in. I think I don't know. I think it probably would just be St. Louis right now. Because spending all the way up on the Roughnecks or the defenders defense is a little bit tricky. So I think St. Louis is the way to go right now at that price. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for today's video, guys. If you have been enjoying the content, would really appreciate it if you could like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. We're getting so close to 3,000 subscribers. I think 2.98 now. But yeah, thanks again for everyone coming to check out the video. I really do appreciate it. And I will see you guys all next week for XFL Week 4.